welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ron. There goes some geese. Today I wanted to highlight something a little bit different. It's the Canon EF 85mm F1.2L II USM Lens. That's a mouthful to say. For your Canon DSLR cameras. But first, there's a blue heron, looks like a crane, that I'm looking at. And I think I may want to try and get some photos of this guy. So hang on for just 1 second. Okay, that was fun. Let me show you a few of the photos that I just captured with this new lens. Again, it's the Canon EF 85mm F1.2L II USM Lens. In the first photo, this is a blue heron. It just grabbed a fish out of the water while I was sneaking up on him. You'll see I was able to capture some really great detail in this shot. Not something that you see every day, so I thought this was pretty cool. Check out the fish in his mouth. Okay, so back to the Canon EF 85mm F1.2L Mark II USM lens. Now, this lens is not cheap, but it's considered to be one of the best Canon lenses for portrait and wedding photography. Hands down, it's a lens you'll want if you're a professional in the area of portraits or wedding photography. It's the creme de la creme for portrait photography. Now, I'm not a professional photographer, but when I invest in something, I like to invest in quality products. And if you know anything about Canon lenses, you know that they hold their value quite well. This is a really solid lens, and when you pick it up, you'll quickly realize just how much glass this thing has in it. This is an L Series lens, which contains higher quality professional grade optics. The L Series lens can also be identified by their distinctive red ring around the barrel of the lens. I found mixed information on L Series Canon lenses being weather sealed at the base. So to clarify things, although this is an L Series lens, it's not weather sealed as reported by some YouTubers. This means you want to be careful to protect the lens if you're shooting outdoors and it's raining or poor weather conditions. Now, in my findings, there are some Canon L Series lenses that are not weather sealed. This lens is definitely geared towards studio use or in a controlled outdoor environment without weather sealing. So you may want to ask why I bought such a very expensive lens. Well, for a few reasons. First, because I plan on having this lens for a very long time, and again, I like to purchase quality products that are going to last me a long time. Also, I wanted to improve my photography game and take better quality photos. I also enjoy posting to Instagram and wanted to get better quality photos to post, and I really like the professional look this lens gives. Now, there's a term you'll often hear tossed around when people talk about this particular lens, and that's bokeh. In its simplest term, bokeh is the pleasing aesthetic quality of the out of focus blur in the photograph. It's what makes those images look so professional and appealing. Put another way, it's the soft, out of focus background that you'll get when shooting a particular subject. Because this lens can shoot at f1.2, the bokeh is silky smooth. Really nice. Here are a few examples of the bokeh you get with a lens like this. I took these just the other day using my Canon 6D Mark II DSLR camera and this Canon EF 85mm lens. Again, I'm not a professional, but I just love the picture quality you get from this lens. I mentioned it once before in an earlier video, but if you're new here, I have a trip planned later this month with the wife, Melissa, and I think this lens is going to provide me with some great photos from that trip. I'm going to be sure to post some of those pictures when I get back, so if you're not following me on Instagram, you may want to check that out. Now, because of the price of this lens, I'll say this is not the type of lens you want for everyday photography or chasing the kids around the house or shooting pictures of the family dog. This is a lens for capturing and showing some of your best work. Also, because you can shoot from f1.2 upwards, it can be a little tricky to hit focus at f1.2, specifically when your subject is moving. Not that it can't be done, and when you nail it, those photos look absolutely stunning. Right now, the list price for this lens, new, is upward of $1,500 to $1,900 US. This lens is one of Canon's widest aperture lenses, although Canon also makes a 55mm lens with a similar aperture. This f1.2 lens allows you to shoot in very low light conditions and still keep your ISO low and reduce any noise in your image. This is a Series 2 lens, unlike the original Canon EF 85mm F1.2L USM lens, which had a much slower focus speed. This newer model utilizes the latest USM ultrasonic motor, which is significantly faster than its predecessor model by about 1.6 times. I've noticed that shooting in direct sunlight can be an issue if you're shooting at f1.2 aperture. You'll need to have the right shutter speed and ISO so you're not overexposing your image. One additional item worth noting is that I did not buy this lens for recording video, though you can shoot some great video on this camera as well. This lens does not have image stabilization built into it, so unless you're shooting on a tripod or a slider, you may get some shaky footage. Of course, you can stabilize the footage in post-production, but again, my main use for this lens is photography. This is footage I shot with another lens, which has image stabilization. And here's some handheld footage I shot with the Canon EF 85mm F1.2L Mark II USM lens, which doesn't have image stabilization. Now, if you can't afford an expensive lens like this, but want to give it a try, there are some companies out there that will let you rent a lens for short periods of time. This might suffice for some folks working on short-term projects or someone just wanting to demo a lens before purchasing. A quick Google search will give you companies like lensrental.com or LensPro2Go. If you want to check them out, but do your homework and check the reviews for any companies you use before renting. I've not used either of these, just mentioning it in case you're interested in trying out a lens like this. Now, I didn't run through the entire list of specs on this lens because you can Google that and I didn't want to bore you with all the details. However, I will put a link below to all the specs for anyone interested in all that information. If you want to support this channel, I've also put some affiliate links below. These links will direct you to products I currently use or recommend and can confidently recommend to you as I own them myself. If you're an active subscriber, I do thank you. If you're not an active subscriber, I hope you'll think about subscribing. And until next time, be safe one-wheeling, happy flying, and if you're a photographer, happy shooting.